In today's discussion, we delve into a case that unfolded in Minnesota during the year 2013. The central figure of this story is Kyra Steger, a 30-year-old employed as a store clerk at one of the establishments within the vast confines of the Mall of America. Kyra's dedication to her job was well known. She had a reputation for never missing a shift. Thus, when February 23, 2013, arrived, and Kyra failed to make her customary appearance at work, her colleagues were understandably concerned. Her absence raised alarm bells, prompting her coworkers to make numerous attempts to contact her. Unfortunately, Kyra did not respond to their calls or text messages, leading to the involvement of the police, who were notified of her mysterious disappearance. Kyra K. Steger's life began on November 19, 1982, in Des Plaines, Illinois. She was the beloved daughter of Marcy and Jay Steger, who fondly described her as a vivacious, committed, and endearing child. Kyra had been employed at the Mall of America for some time, working in various stores, including Wet Seal and, most recently, Delia's. Her coworkers were more than just colleagues. They were her close-knit circle, essentially an extension of her family. One of Kyra's remarkable traits was her innate ability to recognize and appreciate the strengths in others, often identifying attributes that even the individuals themselves hadn't recognized. She was filled with hope for a promising future, a future that seemed bathed in bright, serene hues. Regrettably, these dreams would soon be extinguished in an inexplicable turn of events when Kyra vanished without a trace. On Thursday, February 21, 2013, Kyra had a work shift. Her colleagues later attested that she appeared to be in good spirits and had plans to enjoy a pleasant evening at a restaurant with her husband, Jeffrey Trevino. Kyra and Jeffrey's love story had ignited 3 years prior, and their romantic journey had culminated in marriage. By all accounts, Kyra and Jeffrey seemed to be a content and stable couple. While every relationship encounters occasional disagreements, theirs were perceived as minor and were kept well within the confines of their private world. Neither their relatives, friends, nor coworkers had any inkling of these disputes. Fast forward 2 days to Saturday, February 23rd. On this day, Kyra failed to report for work as expected, deviating from her punctual routine. Her coworkers, who were accustomed to her strict adherence to schedules, grew increasingly concerned. They made efforts to reach out to her, but their attempts bore no fruit. In a bid to shed light on her whereabouts, they contacted Jeffrey. However, Jeffrey was as much in the dark as they were. He had no knowledge of Kyra's location. He shared with them that Kyra had left their home the previous morning, a Friday, around 8:30 a.m. On that particular day, she was required to be at work due to an event, and she had displayed her usual conscientiousness. Jeffrey, however, was not unduly alarmed by her absence. It wasn't uncommon for Kyra to occasionally disappear for a day or two, spending the night with friends or visiting relatives without prior notice. The only element that might have raised a flicker of concern was the severe weather conditions that had gripped the region that day, with heavy snowfall. Jeffrey speculated that perhaps her car had encountered difficulties or her cell phone had run out of power. Nonetheless, as the day wore on and no word came from Kyra, Jeffrey's unease grew. He decided to take action by filing a missing persons report and reaching out to Kyra's family. Kyra's loved ones were baffled and deeply distressed by her inexplicable disappearance. It was a blow that left them reeling. Upon receiving the missing persons report for Kyra Steger, detectives sprang into action. The standard procedure in such cases dictated that the investigation commence with an interview of the spouse and a thorough search of the immediate vicinity. This case was no exception. Detectives arrived at Jeffrey's residence to question him. He cooperated fully and provided his account of the events leading up to Kyra's disappearance. According to Jeffrey, on that Thursday evening, he and Kyra had spent quality time together. They had enjoyed dinner, engaged in conversation, and even indulged in a game of bowling before leaving the mall. Their intentions were to return home and cap the evening by watching a movie. Jeffrey emphasized that everything appeared perfectly normal. There were no arguments or signs of trouble between them. The detectives probed deeper, seeking information about Kyra's potential whereabouts. They inquired if she might have been staying with someone else or if there was the possibility of an extramarital affair. Jeffrey adamantly refuted these suggestions, citing that he had personally discussed these matters with Kyra, and her responses had been negative. He stressed that he loved his wife deeply and had complete trust in her. From Jeffrey's perspective, the occasional disagreements they had experienced in their marriage were nothing out of the ordinary, just minor disputes that cropped up in any family. With the information gleaned from Jeffrey and the details about Kyra and her car, detectives began their search, providing the pertinent information to patrol officers. Simultaneously, they decided to visit the Mall of America themselves. The Mall of America, situated in Bloomington, is a colossal shopping complex that boasts a staggering 520 stores, theme parks, an oceanarium, movie theaters, a golf course, and much more. Given its immense size and importance, the mall is equipped with an extensive network of security cameras. Armed with the knowledge of Kyra's departure time from work on February 21st, the detectives scrutinized the security footage from that crucial moment. The visual record corroborated Jeffrey's account, confirming that he had met Kyra after her shift, and they had spent time at the mall before proceeding to the parking lot and driving away. No signs of discord or unusual behavior were evident in the footage, suggesting that their evening had transpired smoothly. As each day passed without any news of Kyra, the anxiety among her loved ones intensified. The lack of information, the void left by her disappearance, was taking an emotional toll on everyone connected to her. The waiting, the uncertainty, and the ominous silence were, indeed, a heavy burden to bear. Growing increasingly impatient and anxious for any news of Kyra, her family made the decision to travel to Bloomington, where their beloved daughter and sister had disappeared. They were determined to actively participate in the search efforts. Equipped with flyers bearing Kyra's image, they embarked on a mission to raise awareness about her disappearance. These flyers were posted on lampposts, distributed to passers-by on the streets, and shared wherever they could capture the public's attention. They realized that they couldn't simply stand idly by. They had to do everything within their power to locate their missing loved one. While Kyra's family was tirelessly distributing these leaflets, the official investigation continued its course. In the process of interviewing neighbors of the couple, sharp-eyed officers noticed a surveillance camera affixed to one neighbor's house. This camera had a pivotal vantage point, capturing the area around Kyra and Jeffrey's home. Recognizing its potential significance, the investigators requested the homeowner to provide them with a copy of the camera footage, hoping that it might yield valuable clues. Simultaneously, records from a cell phone company arrived, bringing forth a new lead for the investigators. Kyra's phone records revealed the existence of another man in her life, apart from Jeffrey. This individual turned out to be Ryan Wendt, who happened to be the manager of one of the stores within the same retail chain where Kyra worked. Their relationship was characterized by intensity and longevity, with frequent correspondence. As the investigation unfolded, it came to light that Ryan Wendt had left the state just as Kyra disappeared, traveling in his car toward Colorado. This fact piqued the interest of the investigators, as it presented a potential connection to Kyra's disappearance. It could have been a mere coincidence, or it might have concealed a deeper truth. It was now up to the detectives to decipher the enigma surrounding Ryan's involvement, or lack thereof. Efforts to reach Ryan Wendt proved successful, and he consented to be questioned in Colorado, where he was located at the time. During the questioning, Ryan disclosed that he had last contacted Kyra while driving through South Dakota, exchanging text messages with her. These text messages had been sent shortly before Kyra's sudden disappearance. Examining the timestamps of these messages, detectives made a significant revelation. Kyra had been in communication with Ryan even while dining with her husband, Jeffrey. The contents of the messages suggested a growing distance between Kyra and Jeffrey, adding a layer of complexity to the investigation. In a bid to establish Ryan's whereabouts during the critical period, investigators scrutinized his phone records, cross-referencing them with cell tower data and reviewing his credit card statements. These investigations indicated that Ryan was genuinely out of state on the evening in question, rendering him incapable of direct involvement in Kyra's disappearance. Consequently, he was dropped from the list of suspects. The timestamped messages offered another vital clue. They revealed that Kyra continued texting Ryan until 11:44 p.m. on the fateful night. Following this time, Kyra's phone went silent, further deepening the mystery surrounding her disappearance. Meanwhile, a separate team of investigators geared up to examine the surveillance footage from the neighbor's camera. This camera, although promising, posed challenges due to its rapid rotation, which hindered continuous observation. If something suspicious were to appear, the camera would swiftly shift its view. Jeffrey maintained that after their evening activities, he and Kyra returned home, watched a movie, and retired to bed. However, the video footage told a slightly different story. It revealed that just after 2 a.m., Kyra's car reversed into their yard. Due to the camera's low quality and constant motion, discerning the precise events at that moment was challenging. Shortly afterward, the car departed from their house. Jeffrey's explanation for this late-night drive was that Kyra had asked him to refuel her car in preparation for her morning commute. Substantiating his claim, he had indeed been seen at a gas station around 3:30 a.m. However, what baffled investigators was his subsequent action. Instead of returning home, Jeffrey inexplicably headed toward the highway. The neighbor's camera, unfortunately, did not capture Jeffrey's return home, but this could have been a coincidental gap in the footage due to its constant rotation. There remained a possibility that Jeffrey had returned home later in the day, while the camera was facing a different direction. Upon further examination of the footage, investigators noticed that Kyra's Chevrolet had driven away at 9:21 a.m., but the camera couldn't provide a view of who was behind the wheel. As the pieces of the puzzle slowly came together, the police department received a call on Monday, February 25th, reporting the discovery of a suspicious vehicle near the shopping center where Kyra had worked. This area contained 2 multi-story parking lots, and diligent security guards had observed a car that had been parked there for several days. Concerned by this prolonged presence, they called for a tow truck to remove the vehicle. During the preliminary inspection of Kyra's white Chevrolet, the tow truck driver noticed peculiar red smudges on the trunk lid and promptly contacted the police. While the amount of blood discovered was not substantial, its presence was ominous and raised grave concerns. Kyra's purse, recovered from her abandoned car, contained divorce court forms that appeared to have been downloaded from the internet. Another intriguing discovery was made when investigators noticed a small, dark item lying in the snow behind the car. Upon closer inspection, they found a rolled-up trunk mat with dark-colored stains on its reverse side. DNA testing confirmed that these stains were indeed Kyra Steger's blood. Regrettably, this grim revelation led investigators to the grim realization that Kyra was likely no longer alive. This discovery plunged her family and friends into profound sorrow, extinguishing their last glimmer of hope to see Kyra again. However, this revelation gave rise to a multitude of haunting questions. How did she meet her end? Did she suffer? And who could harbor enough resentment to rob her of her life? The absence of Kyra's body compounded the anguish for her loved ones, making it even more challenging to come to terms with the tragedy. The investigators' immediate priority shifted to identifying the person who had abandoned Kyra's vehicle in the parking lot. The car had left the house at 9:21 a.m., and approximately 20 minutes later, it was captured by the mall's surveillance cameras. Although there were no cameras in the parking lot where the car was found, one camera was strategically positioned to monitor the path leading to the car. Upon reviewing the footage from this camera, detectives noticed a man with a hood covering his head. Given the cold weather, the hood seemed unremarkable. However, they were keen to trace his movements. The hooded man could be seen crossing the street and engaging in a brief conversation with a taxi driver at a nearby taxi stand. He then entered the taxi and departed from the scene. Utilizing GPS tracking devices installed in the taxis parked in the shopping center lot, the police swiftly identified the license plate number of the specific vehicle the hooded man had entered. This led to the revelation that the hooded man had concluded his taxi ride a block away from Kyra and Jeffrey's house, paying in cash as the cab left the neighborhood. Remarkably, the same camera that had partially filmed Kyra and Jeffrey's residence had captured the cab leaving the area. Within 2 minutes of the cab's departure, another hooded figure appeared in the frame. While the video's low resolution made it difficult to discern facial features, what stood out was the white logo on the person's hoodie. As investigators continued scrutinizing the footage, they witnessed the hooded individual entering the very house where Kyra and Jeffrey resided. Given Kyra's absence and the context of her mysterious disappearance, it became increasingly likely that this hooded figure was Jeffrey himself. Armed with a search warrant, law enforcement officers proceeded to the house for a closer examination. At first glance, the residence appeared unremarkable, much like any ordinary house. However, upon closer inspection, forensic experts began discovering dark red stains in the couple's bedroom. Stains were found on the wall beside the bed and on the mattress, approximately 100 of them. It was evident that the bedroom had recently undergone a hasty cleanup. Upon applying luminol, a substance used to reveal hidden bloodstains, the carpet practically glowed. Numerous bloodstains, invisible to the naked eye, became strikingly visible. These bloodstains originated in the bedroom but extended throughout the house. Forensic analysis confirmed that the blood was, indeed, Kyra's, further cementing the investigators' belief that she was no longer among the living. In their quest for answers, the police also inspected Jeffrey's car. While they found no traces of blood or signs of a struggle inside the vehicle, they stumbled upon a significant clue, an intriguing gas station receipt. This receipt was issued just an hour and 40 minutes before Kyra's car was discovered in the mall parking lot. What made it even more intriguing was that the purchase had been made using Jeffrey's credit card. With this vital lead in hand, detectives headed to the gas station to review security camera footage. The footage revealed Jeffrey filling up his car, followed by an ATM transaction in which he withdrew cash. Importantly, the recording captured Jeffrey's face and showcased the logo on his jacket's chest area, appearing to match the logo worn by the man seen in earlier footage. Combined with the evidence found inside the house, these discoveries led to the arrest of 39-year-old Jeffrey Trevino. He was taken into custody, becoming the prime and sole suspect in Kyra's disappearance. Once in custody, Jeffrey exercised his right to remain silent, heeding the advice of his attorney. While the police had amassed a compelling body of evidence to charge him, the absence of Kyra's body posed a significant challenge. Nevertheless, the overwhelming consensus among investigators and those close to Kyra was that she was no longer alive. Determined to bring closure to this harrowing case, the police, together with Kyra's family and dedicated volunteers, embarked on months of exhaustive search efforts. As the snow began to recede in late March, volunteers made a startling discovery by the roadside near Keller Lake, just a few miles from Trevino's house. They stumbled upon a peculiar bag containing a bloodied pillow, a shirt, and a bra. These items were handed over to the forensic team for further analysis. The forensic team, in their investigation, established a connection between the discovered items and Kyra by detecting her DNA on them. The search around the lake was hampered by the persistent ice cover, which impeded divers' efforts. Despite rigorous searches, including deploying 4 search dogs trained to locate bodies, no remains were found in or around the lake. A major breakthrough occurred 2.5 months after Kyra's disappearance, on May 8, 2013, when the St. Paul Police Department received a disturbing call from a concerned citizen. The caller reported having spotted what appeared to be a lifeless body in the Mississippi River. Upon retrieval by police officers, it was confirmed that the recovered body indeed belonged to Kyra Steger. Notably, the body was devoid of clothing, further complicating the investigation. Dental records were employed to establish the identity of the body, and it was conclusively identified as Kyra Steger. The post-mortem examination revealed severe blunt force trauma to her forehead and a fractured index finger on her left hand. Owing to the advanced state of decomposition, the medical examiners were unable to pinpoint an exact cause of death. With this new evidence, investigators embarked on reconstructing the sequence of events leading up to Kyra's tragic demise and the subsequent actions taken by the perpetrator. It was theorized that upon returning home, Jeffrey became aware of or observed Kyra's communication with another person via text messages. Kyra, reluctant to share these correspondences with her husband, led to a heated confrontation in which Jeffrey forcibly wrested her phone from her grip, causing significant injury to her finger upon seeing the romantic nature of the messages. In a fit of escalating rage, Jeffrey resorted to taking Kyra's life and subsequently attempted to conceal the evidence of this heinous act. He used Kyra's vehicle to transport her lifeless body to their residence, placing it in the trunk. From there, he embarked on a series of calculated actions aimed at erasing any trace of his crime. Jeffrey drove to a nearby gas station before proceeding to the river, where he disposed of Kyra's body. Upon returning home, he discarded a bag containing Kyra's pillow and clothing along the way. The following morning, Jeffrey visited a gas station once more, withdrawing cash from an ATM. This was a calculated move, as he anticipated the need to pay for a taxi after leaving Kyra's car in the mall's parking lot, and having cash on hand would facilitate this without leaving a paper trail. Despite his meticulous efforts to craft an illusion of Kyra leaving on her own in her car, Jeffrey's plan unraveled due to surveillance cameras capturing key moments. These cameras provided crucial evidence that contradicted his fabricated narrative. In October 2013, a jury convicted 39-year-old Jeffrey Trevino, albeit agreeing with the defense's argument that his actions were not premeditated and that the crime resulted from a heated and spontaneous argument stemming from the discovery of his wife's infidelity. Before the judge delivered the sentence, members of Kyra's family made poignant statements. Kyra Steger, Kyra's sister, referred to Jeffrey as a calculated criminal deserving of no mercy. Marcy, Kyra's mother, lamented that Trevino had shown her daughter no mercy, likening his actions to callously discarding her like refuse into the nation's most polluted body of water. Jay, Kyra's father, expressed the sentiment that whatever punishment Trevino received could never fully alleviate the profound pain he had inflicted upon their family. In his words, "No matter how much time you give Mr. Trevino, it's not enough, never enough." In November 2013, Jeffrey Trevino was sentenced to 27.5 years in prison, with eligibility for parole slated for 2031.